Hey, you know what seems really, really easy? Interviewing people. You know what's not really, really easy? Actually interviewing people. Hey, it's your buddy Moo Juice Magic here. The reason I bring that up is because I did a video recently where we talked about, I've done quite a few videos on the Mr. Beast drama, but we were talking about and watching the video between Oompaville interviewing Mr. Beast. Oompaville got a lot of hate for that interview. It was last minute, and people felt like he didn't do a very good job with it. Being someone who has interviewed lots and lots of people, I have a paranormal talk show. Most of those interviews are things that I was coming up with on the fly. It's not easy to do an interview on short notice. But let's see what Oompaville has to say about it in his own words, and kind of see if it makes sense for everybody else. I haven't really watched a lot of this. I watched a few minutes of it, but then I decided, I should just... we've already done the video the first. Let's get to it. Without further ado, here's what Caleb has to say about it.
Extra, read all about it. I am an undercover agent for Mr. Beast. I was completely bought off and paid for by blood money. My credibility is gone. My pants are full of shit. And I have failed the entire internet as a whole. I apologize.
Yeah, you failed us miserably, Caleb.
To everyone who had very high expectations of me. We're talking about the Mr. Beast situation, the Mr. Beast interview, and I got a lot to talk about. It's very interesting. I've waited.
Something everyone was wanting to have happen, and then it happened, and they bitched, and I knew that was going to happen.
On my videos, I've waited because there's a lot of great videos being made on the situation as a whole that are critical of myself and basically what happened, and I like watching it. I mean, I don't like watching it like I'm Jack, like it's that type. It's not weird. It's more so just I'm interested to see what people have to say in regard to this. It's not every day you can have a very controversial interview opportunity thing like this. I mean, it's pretty, I'm just a guy. It's cool. I'm very glad to be a part of this, to be honest. Firstly, I want to go into my weaknesses and sort of addressing the criticism as a whole, just off the bat. People were not...
I'm just gonna say it right now. He did a fine job on the interview. It wasn't the greatest, but he goes into details about how it's short notice. So he's gonna be hard on himself because he's getting a lot of shit thrown at him by people that have never had to fucking interview anyone ever. It's kind of frustrating to watch because now he's doubting himself.
Not happy with the way that I conducted the interview. The interview, by the way, is Mr. Beast came to my house last week, and I asked him a bunch of questions, and then edited that video and posted that video, and a lot of people are mad about it. The general overall valid criticism is that I didn't grill him hard enough, and my questions were subpar or corporatized, or I'm not exactly sure. Really, it was just weak. It was a
I don't think so.
Snowball, whatever people call it. That's the criticism.
Even
that interview is...
I don't know. Even Mudahar said they sat down and came up with it.
Firstly, I'm not going to make an excuse.
Mudahar is pretty good about interviews and shit. At least questions.
Completely deliberate. This is what I wanted to do. This is the exact same thing that I did with Dawson. I didn't push Dawson in any way. If anything, I feel more responsibility now if Dawson gets sued because I didn't push him and I didn't push back. And
dude, honestly, I can see why Dawson would be sued, man. I don't think you need to apologize.
Cause him some damage in a lawsuit if Mr. Beast actually does decide to sue him, which I like Dawson a lot, and I don't want that to happen. All things considered with your video on Mr. Beast, but having digested it as a a critically thinking human being over the last couple days, it appears to be 100% good faith.
This is him talking about Dawson.
It does not seem like you want to necessarily gain anything from this.
You're
not
Dawson.
A bad actor. You appear to just be honest and
yeah, I mean, we're all monkeys. We will lie if we have to. I mean,
of course.
I just try to be honest, I guess.
But now,
here's the crazy part. So he's going to go into talk about level of responsibility with this to treat it the same way. But what I want to address is Dawson saying right there, we're all monkeys, we'll lie if we have to. Another comment earlier that showed up on this video that he shows in a quick still frame there was someone saying they're a body language recognition expert. Where's the body language recognition expert making videos about Dawson? Where are the runs there? Because watching Mr. Beast and watching Dawson, Mr. Beast in that interview came off as being somewhat deceptive, but not terribly deceptive. Whereas, from my experience, Dawson seemed to be, the more it came around, far more deceptive, not even based on body language, but just by how he's approaching things. I don't know either way, man. I'm just saying that it could go either way. So it just doesn't seem like people are on Dawson anywhere near as much as they are on Mr. Beast's dick right now.
Because I approached the first interview like that, maybe it emboldened him to promote, say more things that weren't true and believe more people and not fact check things and just start, shoot from the hip. No.
That's what happens when you self-doubt.
But once again, no excuses.
Trust your first instinct, guys. It's usually the right one.
Was intentional.
Usually.
And I wanted it to be like that. I tried not to joke too much. My original idea was to have my pistol appendix carried and reveal it to the camera and say, this is for my safety. That's how I wanted to open the interview and do a bunch of
oh, that would have been spicy.
Bits.
That could have ended poorly.
For Mr. Beast, I just have bits in my head that I like to do.
I understand that. That's pretty funny.
That's really it. That's as shallow as it is. I decided to have a conversation with him. I didn't really have a lot of time to think beyond that, and within the time that I had, that was absolutely 110%.
And I feel like
my decision.
That's why I think his interview wasn't terrible. He didn't have a lot of time. It wasn't
my idea. My philosophy behind it was, I'm going to let him say what he wants, and this is going to be his form of a response. If he is a hypocrite and people can prove him to be a hypocrite, then so be it. I just don't have the dog in me, the journalistic integrity dog, the genius guy who can remember things that actually matter dog. I have.
That's actually for the better, that quote journalistic integrity dog. People that say they have that usually have zero integrity whatsoever, and they're just trying to promote something. I don't think that's what Oompaville here is trying to do. I think he's trying to get to the bottom of it very sincerely. And this is one of the things that I don't fault him for that interview. He didn't have a lot of time to prepare, guys. Even the cops, when they're doing an investigation in you and you're talking to detectives, they have things scripted out that they're going to ask you about. They don't just immediately go into asking you questions in the interrogation room. You sit there for a while, and they plan and strategize how they're going to approach the questions they ask you to try to get the information out. And those guys go to classes just to learn how to make you look guilty with your own words. That's clearly not what he's doing here, and that's why I felt like his interview, he's being a lot harder on himself than he should have been, and I think that other people are being harder on him than they should be as well. So that's my take on it so far.
I have a different type of dog in me, and it's severely deformed, and probably brachiocephalic. That's why I have 2 pugs. So, yeah, once again, intentional. I didn't mean for it to be bad. I wanted it to
wasn't bad.
Be a
You're being too hard on yourself, Caleb.
People could watch the video, see what Mr. Beast had to say, and then they could fact check it themselves or whatever. I didn't intend for this to be the end of the conversation. I didn't go into this with an agenda. I definitely missed a lot of questions, and I definitely didn't push back enough. So I totally get most, like 99.9% of the criticism. Some people are just mean. And I don't like that very much. But, I'm reading it. I get it. And it's beneficial to me. So now I'll begin to make excuses for myself, or give you a reasoning in which my priorities were different on this day. I released a video game. It's called Black Pine, and it is so important to me. The team that I work with around that is so important to me. This has been my absolute passion project that I've kept completely under wraps for the last year. Along with the candy, like these things are so, I just love doing them. I work with my friends. I'm just so incredibly grateful for those things. And it's difficult when we have big events in regard to those things to prioritize YouTube over them. I love YouTube, and I'm insanely grateful once again for my platform, but I would like to use it in, sounds ironic after the whole fallout from this, I would like to use it in more meaningful ways and things that get me excited. And to be frank, internet drama doesn't really get me that excited. And
I mean, it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit. Let's be real here, bro. Here's the thing. Again, people talking shit about him aren't the ones interviewing Mr. Beast. Just throwing that out there. At least with friggin' Oompaville, I don't feel like he's going to get paid off. I don't feel like he's someone that's going to take an L or has any either way about it. I think that he's just kind of a neutral territory. It's important to have that in an interview. And I feel like he was being as neutral as he could with both interviews. And I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong that he was neutral with Dawson. I don't think it was wrong that he was neutral with Mr. Beast. You have to glaze him while you interview him a little bit, or the interview gets cut off. You guys got to understand it. You can't just harp on somebody and harp on somebody. They'll just leave your fucking interview, or not, they'll shut down and not be honest with you. It doesn't incentivize them to be truthful with you if they don't trust you, if they don't trust your motives and intentions. I do think that some of what Mr. Beast said was very questionable. again, the thing, and I'll say this again, the things that I was the most concerned about, I felt like he addressed sincerely. I felt like it was an honest enough answer. And with things being brought to light, I felt like that was okay. I don't feel as worried about it as I was. Again, different details could emerge that could change my mind at any time. But innocent until proven guilty still needs to be a thing. Even the court of public opinion, it doesn't like that, but it should be. Because you can destroy a person's career without that. Dawson absolutely could lose in a court of law because he did something wrong. Not because Mr. Beast is a bad guy and is going after him. If you do something stupid, even if your intentions are good, if you do something wrong, you can still be sued. It's how the justice system works. Justice is blind, motherfuckers. That's why justice has the scales and blindfolds on, okay? It's not as concerned with popularity contests as maybe you and I are. Facts are facts.
And there's a bit of poetry. I released a video called I Am Retiring on that day, which I talk about the game. And that was meant to hopefully inspire some people at the very least, and at the worst, seem like I'm a massive narcissist idiot who really loves video games and wants to make some games. I'm not really sure. This is not a publisher relationship. This is no investor. It is just me, my own effort and money combined with some people.
All right, back to Mr. Beast.
A video game. He said plans might change, not sure.
There
And
you
then
go.
a couple hours later called me announcing that he was getting on a flight and would be at my home in 3
There you
hours.
go.
North Carolina is about a 3-hour flight, 3.5-hour flight. from
That's not a lot of time to
Texas.
prepare for a big
And I didn't
interview,
know
guys.
If he was going to land in DFW and then drive to me, and it takes a couple hours, I didn't know where he was gonna land. When he landed, it was 15 minutes. He was a 15-minute drive away from where I was, which there's no airports.
Watching Caleb be nervous about this
I think he
frustrates
flew a
me, bro.
helicopter
I don't like
to the
this.
field, or-
He did a
I
good
don't
job
know,
for
dude.
what he
I really
had.
don't know what was happening. I didn't have any idea what was happening. It was insane. I'm
It
just
wasn't
a guy,
perfect,
and
but he
they
doesn't.
showed up
It's not his
at
thing.
8, all right, a little earlier than I was expecting. I thought he was going to land at 8 and then drive 2 hours, so I'd have a lot of time. I thought we were going to start the interview at 10. Had my producer John there. He was helping. Producer, you know, he's way more professional, way more talented than I am. But he was helping with like setting up the lights, and I don't know, we were just cleaning my house, literally just cleaning my house. It was so just Oompaville style. It was very Oompaville style, very just last
Fly by the
minute.
seat
I
of
actually
your
considered
pants,
at one
bro.
point that this is just not even real, and somebody's been fucking with me and got me to give them my address and is like on their way now to kill me. And
There
it
you
wasn't
go.
actually
That's-
Mr. Beast. That would have been
There's a
funny.
possibility,
That would've been
bro.
less of a consequence for me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Any excuse to
Hey,
start blasting.
he's strapped, bro. He's got guns. He ain't worried about it.
So anyways, once again, I hope you guys don't take that as me making excuses for myself, because I
Bro,
genuinely have no regrets.
it's not
I
excuses.
did feel a sense of embarrassment the next day reading criticism. I'm like, of course.
Can't do
course,
that, man.
I feel like I shouldn't have done that.
Hindsight's
or whatever,
20/20
but
all the
I have no
time,
regrets.
dude.
I think I approached it in the moment as fairly as I thought I possibly could, which is once again the same thing that I did for Dawson. So no excuses, no regrets.
Equal treatment,
I really
bro.
appreciate a lot of the meaningful, more constructive criticism. A lot of people have reached out with resources as well for future interviews, which
That's fair. You can do that.
I don't know.
Constructive
The day of,
criticism
I was
is
like, I'm
fine.
never doing this shit ever again. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to people. This is like way too much pressure. But now I'm like, okay, maybe there is like a lot of actual, genuine, meaningful criticism. People actually care about this type of stuff. I should be pushing harder or be more prepared or rehearse questions. I've never rehearsed anything in my life. All right. Somehow I can play the guitar fairly well, and I've never practiced.
I play guitar poorly, and I seldom ever practice, so I don't. Oh, yeah,
Obviously,
okay.
that's a lie. I have practiced very hard, but it's
I
easy to
don't.
practice. This is a terrible, terrible bit, so I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah,
so we got
close.
the
Swing
criticism
and a
out
miss.
of the way, day after, etc.
It's the worst thing you've done so
and
far,
then
Caleb.
Why Mr. Beast chose me to do this became question for many people. Became a point of speculation. Was it because I was paid off by Mr. Beast?
This is
That's
an
not
ad.
true.
It's
I
an
was never
interview. What's
paid
wrong
to
with you?
corporatize his questions. I used my questions, by the way. He didn't have a PR team as far as
He
I
and
could tell
Mudahar
there.
came
He
up
had
with questions
guys in
together,
shorts and
guys.
t-shirts
You gonna say him and some
really
ordinary
normal.
gamer
It
are
was
just
very
sold out? Is that what you're trying to
weird.
say?
It was very weird. I just asked questions that I thought
Seems
would be important
questionable
and
to
forgot
me.
a bunch and literally called him back the next morning and put those questions in as well.
Which he
there
did.
at
We
the end
talked
of the
about
video.
it.
So it's also inconvenient that I left them at the end of the video. I should have interjected them.
Eh.
I felt like it might break up the flow, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was
There
fine.
was no flow. It was terrible. Yeah, whatever. There was also a surprising amount of talk of MrBeast paying me off. There was even a post talking about how MrBeast gave me $250,000 a couple years ago, and how it was a massive conflict of interest, like where I'm facilitating or mediating an interrogation of like Vladimir Putin, or like like some kind of serial killer, or Ted Bundy or something like that. I thought it was MrBeast, but okay. Bro's a dork sitting in my living room. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. MrBeast didn't give me any money, not a single penny. I wish he would have. A company called Creative Juice did a long time ago, but they're no longer involved in my channel in any sense, or my businesses, or my life in any way. And I'm very glad, because I didn't really like that relationship. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, and also, if he did buy me and there was like a conflict of interest, what about all these videos where I shat all over him and his stupid Lunchly brand, talking about lead and his dumbass?
He's not been the nicest guy to Mr. Beast, dudes. I don't understand why you guys think that he just decided to switch sides.
If you are really excited by internet drama, maybe it does make sense. But yeah, to me, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I really wanted to ask him if he had seen any of my videos on him while he was sitting in front of me, but I figured people would be like, "Are you asking me questions about yourself? You're talking about yourself too much. Talking about yourself too much. Stop talking."
All right, I'm just gonna say it like there. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna put the link up in the comments for Caleb's video for you to watch the whole thing yourselves. I think it's pretty fucking self-explanatory. Get off his dick about it, man. His interview was fine. It wasn't perfect. He's not an interviewer. He didn't have a ton of time to sit down and do it. It's not really his cup of tea. Some people aren't as confrontational as I am, okay? It's what it is. And even then, I would try to be polite enough, because that's how you should interview people. That's how you get information. You don't just slam them down. It's like, I saw this and I commented on this video. What did they want you to do? Punch him in the fucking face? Like, what's he gonna do? Just hit him? Hold a gun up? Tell us the truth. Fun fact about interrogation. It's always shown in movies that violence is how you get information from somebody in pain. That is not the best way to extract information from someone. The best way to do it is to make them uncomfortable, to make them confused, not to hurt them, not to cause them immediate pain, to get them trusting, to get them kind of taken off their guard. You want to open up some weakness in them without physically hurting them, because at that point, they'll just lie to make the pain stop. So what do you guys really want them to do? Like, I didn't see the whole lot of terribleness with what Mr. Beast was saying, what Jimmy was saying, whatever his name. I didn't think it was that terrible. Was he full of shit on some of it? Most likely. The stuff that was the most important to me, though, is what I paid attention to, and that was the shit with Delaware and the shit with the Chris Tyson thing. I kind of see where it's coming. I'm still kind of up in the air about that one. And then the argument that, well, Delaware and Chris Tyson were friends. Well, that doesn't mean that Chris Tyson is going to be telling everybody, hey, here's another kid toucher that we're hanging out with. I don't think they introduce each other that way to society when they know that they're alike. I think they still try to keep that on the DL. I don't think they advertise it usually. Unless they're Shadman, I guess. Anyway, I didn't care fuck all about the crypto stuff because I don't know enough about his situation with crypto. I just didn't look that far into that. For that, you can look at, what's his name? Anyway, there's another guy that does all about that. It's really popular that these guys talk to. And he was a little bit critical about this interview as well. A lot of people were. It's unnecessary criticism. Constructive criticism is good. But when you're just dogging on the dude, making him doubt himself for something, I mean, realistically, most of you couldn't even try to do. You'd probably just get dumbfounded completely. I know you think you wouldn't, but having sat on the other side of that table and had to interview people for various things at very different times, in different circumstances, I can tell you it's not as easy as you think. So put yourself in his shoes before you dog on this dude for it. Caleb ain't getting bought out. I don't buy that. I don't know the dude, but from everything I've seen, I highly doubt that he and Mutahar had a meeting and fucking got paid out by Mr. Beast when these guys did all but burn the motherfucker in effigy. You know? Just throwing that out there, dudes. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. My point was just don't dog on Caleb so much about it. Was his interview perfect? No. No. But he's not. It's not what he does, you know? He didn't do bad. So don't just say he was bad because you don't agree with how it went or you would have asked different questions. Next time you interview Mr. Beast, You post it on short notice, and you let us know how well it works out for you in the comments. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about all this. Like the video if you haven't liked it yet. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I'd appreciate that. It would make me feel warm in my heart. Now, I got to go and finish this other video I recorded I was going to post up of a shooting. But then I realized my microphone was muted the entire time, so I wasted about an hour of my life for miming the video. Yep, that happened. Like I said, things done on short notice. Can't always quantify every detail. Anyway, Emoji's magic, and I love you in the face. See you next time.